long distance relationships, do they work?
You go first.
Okay, I'll give you my take on it.
Yeah.
Before we talk about long distance relationships, we need to go to a little fundamental principle before we even talk about it that's going to tie in with long distance relationships. So with long distance relationships, put that aside for the minute. One of the biggest flaw I'd say in the human world, I would say, is in denial. There are a lot of people that are in denial just in life. It could be that their work, they're in denial. A lot of people, for example, hate their jobs, hate their career paths, but they just do it and they accept it and they tell themselves that it's okay. But really, that's not where they want to be in their world. People sometimes are in a relationship. They've been together for 6 months. It's a long distance relationships, but they've been together for 6 months. Are they really going to call it off? It's been 6 months now. It's been a year now. Are they really going to call it off? And it's all right. It's working. You know, why break something that isn't technically broken? Life progresses in that way. And what happens is that person who's 20 ends up spending the next 10, 15 years with that partner in a long distance relationship, only to find that it wasn't going to work in the first place. And they realized it from day one. Within the first 6 months, they could have ended it off. And they deep down knew. How can you communicate every day from long distance relationships? Isn't it difficult? How does it work?
I have two.
Obviously, it's just my opinion, of course.
I have two thoughts to this. On the straight up side, I think, based on my personal thing, unless it started as a long-term relationship, unless, let's say, you met in one country, you came from somewhere else, and you built your relationship based on a long-distance connection, then I think it could work because it's something that you've built it on. And if you're used to it and you don't know anything else, then you're not comparing it. But let's say you did have this relationship where you lived together, you spent every day with each other, and then let's say one person moved, you've just gone from what you're used to completely out of your comfort zone and tested your relationship, which you're always going to compare back to what it started as, which could either make your relationship and it might be for the better, or it could break it. But then that's my opinion on it. But then I also consider there is relationships that they did work like that, and then the partner went to the army, for example. They're gone for most of the year at times, and maybe they weren't always like that, but it still works. That is what happens. People go back to their families, and I do believe in absence makes the heart grow fonder. When we go on holiday, we miss each other so much. When we come back, we're close, but then I guess that's such a short break. But when I think of how a long break, what that could do,
that's what I mean.
And funny enough, there was a moment in our life where that almost was a consideration, right?
Yeah, there was.
When you almost were going to work on a cruise.
Yeah, that is very true. And if I took the cruise job, I probably would have been away, I think it was 8 weeks at a time, I think it was.
I think it was longer than that.
I didn't take it in the end because I didn't want to be away from Tanya. What about the Australian sponsorship?
Yeah, even that. These are the things that I think probably we wouldn't be sat here today. Well,
no.
We obviously wouldn't be, but...
I suppose it's a dynamic, but I think what the biggest mistake is if someone is happy with a long distance relationship, and it can work, I suppose. Let's just say two people have like a corporate job. Say one person's working, say, in the army or does a lot of traveling for their business, and the other half is also in a proper busy job where they work many hours and don't see each other as much, and it just works. That's cool, but I do believe that if someone's 20 years old and they've got the next 80 years to live their life, if they deep down want someone by their side every day, they deep down want like someone to see every day, but it's just in a long distance relationship, do not dwell on it. There's a saying, you're better off crying for 6 months than spending the rest of your life in regret. I think that is a key element here.
Again, it all comes back to whatever works for you in your relationship. Because if you genuinely are that person where you really are your own person and you don't want someone always there and you want to have this whole other life on your own, then it works. If you find that person that wants the exact same, it's fantastic. But yeah, I 100% agree. If one person deep down doesn't want a long distance relationship but accepts it because the other does, it won't work.
I totally get that, Tan. And I say, if you're going to be in a long distance relationship as well, I think that probably more than ever, commitment, taking a leap of faith into that other person and 100% committing, I think is essential. It's one thing seeing each other every day and we've got that like trust and relationships are going well for us, but when it comes to sort of, I don't see you now for the next 9 months, I've got to trust that you're still going to have feelings for me. You're not going to sway. You're not going to find someone else. You're not going to cheat on me. These are important things. Does that make sense?
It's just a very testing.
Yeah, it's a very testing thing. In fact, if you do a long distance relationship and you're happy with it and it works, you've probably got a stronger relationship than most people.
Absolutely.
So I kind of changed my tune as we've been speaking about it.
I guess we both changed our opinion. I just think that we're in agreement that if it works for the two people, then it can work.
Every single relationship is so unique, especially behind closed doors. Everyone's got a different dynamic. I always say in relationships, there's always two relationships in one. Every relationship has a public relationship and a private relationship, and it's got to work on both ways.
A relationship is two people, half and half. If there's an imbalance in whatever reason, it's not going to work.
100%.
In everything. In every
I totally
agreement,
agree.
you know, there has to be that pretty much close to matching.
I totally agree. Tan. So to conclude, long distance relationships, do they work or not work, or could they work?
They can work, providing that both want that.
Yeah, I agree.